Luke,
Yes.
talk to me about Michael Saylor.
Well, geez, look, I've got a differing opinion on him. Like I've got respect for him because, he's putting his balls out there, and in a big way. Like in a way that really no one else is. Like it'll literally like ruin him if this like goes away. But at the same time, like you gotta have. I feel like there's like a smart way about like going about it, and like there's a clever way of going about it. And at this point, I feel like he's just like grabbing the leverage meter and just like dragging it. It's like 50 to 100x on like a futures platform or something like that. He's just going a little too hard. And like he came out recently that he bought, another $500 million or something at like $37,000 average price on Bitcoin. I mean, like, it's just, I don't know. For me personally, it's not a good entry. It's just like he just gets, he basically, I feel like he wakes up every morning thinking, how can I get more dollars to like market smash the button? And like, look, I get it. Like, I get his philosophy. His philosophy is like all in Bitcoin. It's for the long haul, like go to the moon and stuff. But like, I feel like there's also like a smart way to go about it, and like for sure, he's a smart dude, and he's got his powers and his way of getting money and shit. But I don't know. I just every time he does something, I don't know, it kind of irks me a bit now. Like he's kind of tilting me. Anyway, that's just
So
what I was.
I actually, if I may, I have I was recently watching the Soromitsu World or Soromitsu Economic Forum,
Mm,
Sora Economic Forum. Richard Werner was speaking there. He's my favorite economist right now, and he talked about how like in Japan was the biggest asset bubble that the world has ever seen to this date. But I mean, we may be in a bigger one right now. But like
mm,
leaving that aside, it was fueled by lending and central bank like lending in particular that was solely focused about asset purchases.
Mm.
So
right.
so uh, what Saylor is doing right now is like issuing debt and like issuing equity raises, right? For which essentially is like a special form of debt in order to purchase an asset. In this case, it's Bitcoin, and that that's definitely pumping Bitcoin to some extent. But it's slightly different than leverage because he's no there's no based on the terms there's no way for him to get liquidated, right?
Mm,
There's an obligation to his shareholders, which means that he has to act in their best interest. But that actually helps Bitcoin, doesn't hurt it. And so, in general, that's not doesn't take away from the Bitcoin ecosystem. But yeah, so he is setting a precedent for more than just balls to wall all in. This is like like taking out massive loans in order to achieve the highest amount of Bitcoin that he can possibly buy. And it
mm,
is to such a degree that he's going to have to sell it at one point. And this is that's only one part of the equation. Like the the cycle by which Bitcoin advances is like this weird dance of arbitrage between electricity price, like per Bitcoin price of electricity as well, and computation, and price of every individual coin. It's like almost like the bonds of Bitcoin itself, right? And and this like this weird dance, like the infrastructure has to catch up to where the demand side, which is the buying of Bitcoin, is has propelled it as well. And this is why we have boom and bust cycles because it takes time for that to like build up over time. And yeah, so Michael Saylor, he's doing his best. He's trying to like he's doing what a man can do. He's organized the Bitcoin Mining Council. You can actually hear it on Twitter Spaces if y'all are interested. They're keeping it open now, but it's nothing. It's all posturing, really. There's no fundamental investment into like Bitcoin mining operations or ASIC research. It's just all as Luke was saying, like posturing and grandstanding, and it does strike as a little bit hollow sometimes, but like I don't know, like he may be it's to be determined whether or not his actions are going to hurt or help Bitcoin in the long run.
mm,
Yeah. I guess.
Everyone, as like what was it? Harvey Dent says, "You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain," which
Mm,
Nicholas Nassim Taleb definitely has seen himself become right now, which is just crazy. What a heel turn.
Mm,
yeah. Ultimate, ultimate balls of steel. How
mm.
much like I think his average buy-in is 26 grand. Is that correct?
Yeah, but it also doesn't take in account like liquidity and stuff. That was bought over months. If he tried to exit that whole position now, it would probably push us well below that, in my opinion.
Mm. So
So you got
was
to
it
think about that as well.
was the agreement that they were buying directly from the miners? Was that the agreement that was in place?
No, I think he used a
Coinbase.
TWAP bot on
Okay.
Coinbase.
I wasn't sure where I heard that. That must have been incorrect then. I read that they had some weird agreement with miners, whereas they were basically saying, any Bitcoin that's being sold, come to us first, and we'll snap it right up out of your hands. But I guess that's incorrect, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
No one
Gudo
knows.
actually came. Gudo came in our chat. Recently. Gudo, he's the what is his official title? Community manager, like
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
for
community
Hathor.
manager of Hathor. Yeah.
Yeah, so at Hathor, if people don't know, it's a merge mine coin with SHA-256D, the hash, the mining algorithm for Bitcoin. And so, yeah, Hathor has this new green mining program where they're trying to promote as much green mining as possible. And Guido had an interesting little tidbit where he said that freshly minted Bitcoins actually have a premium compared to Bitcoins from an exchange or from a P2P uh, like acquisition. So that's very interesting. Having like miners mining Bitcoin which have no history is actually worth more than Bitcoin with a history. So we could be
Mm,
seeing like over time, especially as like central banks and governments are rolling out KYC programs and AML programs, and the rise of CDFI, the bridging of the centralized finance, the decentralized finance world. We could see this sort of um, Bitcoin becoming like pseudo fungible,
Mm.
like
right.
like
They call
you
them
know,
tainted Bitcoins, don't they?
yeah, and
Oh
it's a
no,
little bit of a psyop in my opinion,
Yeah.
but who knows really.
painted Bitcoins. That just sounds bad as well.
Yeah, well, it's
Exactly.
like Bitcoins
If
that
That's
interacted
the
with like the
point.
black market
That's
or
the
whatever.
point.
Yeah, I don't want that
Like,
tainted Bitcoins. Get your tainted Bitcoins away from me.
yeah, but what if like let's say you like so right now like there's like a new mechanism where you can do atomic swaps, cross-chain swaps with Monero, right? And you get a
Mm.
Bitcoin that has been swapped through Monero into Bitcoin again. Like is that like and you don't know where it came from. Like why would that like Bitcoin be worth any less? Like you have $1 or $100 bill that's been used to like snort cocaine. There are traces of cocaine on it, but
Yeah.
the retailer is still going to accept it as if it's like $100 bill. It doesn't matter if there's like traces of cocaine on it. It's still $100 bill.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
an interesting point.
yeah. I guess I don't really see how they become tainted. Why that really matters
It's
personally.
a mechanism of control. I mean,
Okay.
that's mainly what it is.
Yeah, same thing with the miners. It's just like blatantly obvious at this point. They're trying to control or
Oh,
regulate
dude.
it at the
Oh,
source.
that's crazy,
That's a
dude.
whole nother discussion.
Dude, like half the mining power is gone. Like almost half.
Mm,
Like it's just straight up gone from China.
mm,
America, like I think this is a big geostrategic like mistake by China.
Yeah.
Unironically, I
I
thought
mean,
China was gonna like co-opt the hash rate, but instead of just eject it. But
is this not a huge opportunity for the US?
oh yeah, 100%.
Take control of the hash rate.
Hmm. I mean, Texas Governor Greg Abbott like signed a bill to encourage Bitcoin mining, and that's right after having a like disaster with uh, you know, our electricity grid.
Mm.
So
But a lot of, I mean, these miners are just going to go elsewhere. I mean, there was a news article earlier today, and there was a publicly listed company in China, and they moved their operations to Kazakhstan. I think that was right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Did you hear about this?
Hmm. And
But yeah,
Mongolia as well. And
I mean, that's the beauty of Bitcoin, right? I mean, and this mining could just move anywhere else. Anyone with open arms and say, "Come here, do it here." If China don't want it, we want it. But I mean, so is it? What was the actual? So I never. I'll be honest. I had a tiny break a few weeks back with a lot of this crypto stuff. Um, just life, recharge the batteries and that. What was the actual outcome of this? Why are all the miners being asked to leave now?
so actually, I have that article pulled up by Nick Carter. So uh,
Actually, boy.
not to be confused with like any of the other Carters, like from the Backstreet Boys. But Nick Carter, he's a great he makes great content. Let me pull this up. Where is it? I had it up. It's on CoinDesk, and he gets into like he's got some like ears on the ground about like what happened, why the why the mining was banned, not only just in places where there's coal being consumed, but also even in like hydroelectric dams, which usually uh, so in essence, like China, like they've been expanding massively, like just unbelievably quick, ever since they embraced like more capitalistic approaches in 1980. And so their electricity grid they've built out in preparation for further growth, and they overbuilt out their capabilities. And so there was no like homogeneous, like smoothed out electricity production relative to like the demand. And so there'd be areas in which there's no one living there, but there's like orders of magnitude more electricity being produced than actually is being consumed. And so like it was just sitting there, like just going to waste. I think they call it curtailing. And so Bitcoin is like all about like because you can like once you make the ASIC, it can go anywhere, and all you need is like just the barest amount of like of bandwidth to really even keep your node synced once you downloaded the whole chain. And so like the biggest point of like competition here is cheap energy. And so when you have these giant pools of basically wasted energy, these power plants are looking to like sell it to to anyone. And so these miners can emerge and soak up all the energy and just go to town with their mining rigs. And so I think there's like some instances of like, like with any power comes corruption, right? And bureaucracy in China is pretty notorious. And so there was several instances of like public figures cracking deals with Bitcoin miners and saying like, "Oh, we're gonna ban you if you don't like sign a deal with me." And it's like,
Mhm.
so it's like a point of like contention as well, where these public officials were getting like these like what would you say, like under the table handouts, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so like the federal Chinese government's like, yeah, we can't have this anymore. And as well, you layer that onto the fact that they're trying to make a central bank digital currency of the digital yuan. I think it's a DCEP.
Mm.
And so that's
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of reports that came out from that saying that it wasn't going too well. They trialed it in a few places. Was it Shenzhen? Is that correct?
Shenzhen, Sichuan. There's a whole bunch of places. It's just banned across the board. Like they really banned Bitcoin mining like
So
completely.
the FUD was real this time. The China FUD that actually came to fruition.
Well, yeah, and it's like they're not banning exchanges completely though, which is interesting.
Hmm.
Just the mining.
Mm. You'd think
I
it'd be the
I'm
opposite, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And, like, think about it from their perspective, like, why are they doing it, right? Like, they don't like it because they like to have, like, capital control over their country. So wouldn't you want the majority of hash rate to stay in the country and then block users from interacting with the ecosystem, not the other way around?
That's the
Because
way they were
having hash
doing it first
mm,
for a long time. Yeah.
yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because Binance was Chinese, and they had to leave.
Mm.
I mean, it just doesn't really make sense to me. It doesn't like I don't understand the move. Like they were in
Read this
control.
article, dude. Read
Yeah,
this article.
if you could send that article, that'd be great.
It-
Because
Yeah, I sent it to you, dude.
by Nick Carter, Backstreet Boy.
Backstreet Boy.